Talk STL. This hour of the Allman Report brought to you by STL FenceWorks, celebrating 50 years of industry-leading service for fence, deck, and leisure space solutions. Visit stlfenceworks.com.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Wednesday to all of you and yours. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here. Happy to be with you. Ashton over there. And this is the 3 Martini Lunch. It's Common Sense Radio, and I am back from it seemed like it was up and down to Cabo San Lucas right there at the edge of the Baja Peninsula, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was, I'm not going anywhere else from now on because it's like in Florida, you know, we used to go to Florida all the time, and I like Florida, and used to go to, you know, the Emerald Coast and places like that. But you always have to look at the weather. Like, you're always looking at the weather map. And you're always kind of like, well, you know, I hope it doesn't rain, or when's it going to rain, you know, and usually what would happen, it would be just my luck. We were going down. One time we went down there, you know, all year planning the vacation for going down in Florida, and there's Superstorm Sandy that arrives like the minute we get there. You know, I'm literally at one point we were eating dinner, and I see the red flags coming out on the beach. And I'm thinking to myself, I was like, what are those doing there? And it's like, it just so happens, you know, I think it was tropical storm, a superstorm Sandy that was coming in. So anyway, in Cabo, it never rains. Like, it rains like 4 days a year in Cabo. And the skies are literally clear the entire time. It's really amazing, and it's a beautiful place. Went down there with Lily, 16 years old, and it was a fun little trip for both of us. I did go through Apple Vacations and Katie Modulin. She's a great travel agent and just a wonderful person overall, and stayed at a place called Dreams in Cabo, and just unbelievable place. Flew American Airlines, which I haven't flown in a long time, and I was super impressed with American Airlines. Like, we were early all the time, with the exception of last night coming from Chicago. So we flew from Cabo to Chicago, and we were late and delayed leaving, so we didn't get in until 12:45 this morning. So technically we arrived on the 18th of March, today. We came home today. But anyway, it was great. Really impressed with American Airlines. Really super easy. TSA was easy. You know, we woke up early in the morning on Friday, got out. TSA lines were clear as a bell. We had just missed a big group of people, but the lines going through customs and all that stuff was cool, and so it was a lot of fun, and Lily and I had a great time, and so I appreciated Larry and Paul and Tim filling in for me while I was gone. So thank you guys for doing that as well. Really appreciate you on that level. You guys did a great job, I understand, and so thank you very much for all of that. And I've got some stories to tell. We had interesting time. Lily, 16 years old, and kind of in that between time. So I have some funny stories about that. But it was fun. It was beautiful. And so thank you for indulging me and letting me go, because I really appreciate it. So we've got a lot to cover today. Rick Pogue is going to be in at about 1 o'clock or so. So we're going to be able to do that, hang out with old Rick. Rick posted something on Facebook the other day, and I was in the airplane, so I really couldn't. I had internet, but wasn't all that great. And so I saw him posting something from the time he was on my show on the Allman Report on Channel 30, where he was a guest on my show. So that was pretty cool, and so really appreciated him doing that. And I'll have to go back and find that. So we had a lot of news coming out. The Illinois elections were very, very interesting. Is it possible that Illinois is changing a little bit, that finally some people have had enough? Now, I think they'll still vote Democrat, but every single socialist that was running opposed lost. Every single one. Every single one I'm talking about for Congress. Every single socialist lost. So all the Mamdani types, and later on I'm going to bring you this St. Patrick's Day message from Mamdani. I mean, man, if this isn't a reason to make sure that we just stop the flow of the mutts that are being elected into office all across the country, if we could just figure out a way to stop that, because these people are out of their minds. They're trying to rewrite history. I don't know whether you saw Mamdani hijack the St. Patrick's Day holiday. Basically just steal it from the Irish and apply it to the Gazans. Unbelievable. And by the way, this is never going to end if you keep electing these Muslim crazies to higher office. It's never going to end. And they're going to, come hell or high water, squat on our cultural property for the remainder of our days. They're going to try to colonize our culture in ways you cannot imagine. They are cancers, some of these people, and we've got to stop this at some point. And actually, in Illinois, the congressional candidate, you remember this woman? She's a crazy banshee. Her name is Kat Abu-Ghazaleh, and she raised more money than anybody she was running against in this congressional seat, and yet she still lost. And being in Illinois, I got to tell you, people, I think at some point, because Illinois people also vote for Republicans who are liberal. So, and what happens is the Republicans come in there, and I don't know much about Darren Bailey, but if he's like some of the other Republicans that have been elected as governors of Illinois, they've all been terrible. Like Jim Edgar and this other clown who was a mega wealthy dude. They all wound up being a bunch of liberal Republicans, and they also supported the pension plans that wound up drowning Illinois and everything else. And so, I don't know what's going on with people in Illinois, but for whatever reason, they keep on electing, even when they're voting for Republicans, they're voting for liberal Republicans. So I'm not quite sure really what's better. Having a Republican that's just simply a rhino sellout in Illinois, or just going for the full-on sugared Coke in the form of Pritzker. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really seem to help when they elect Republicans in Illinois. Anyway, back to Kat. So if you remember, she was the one who was indicted for basically impeding the ICE agents in Illinois, and she was arrested and even indicted. And if you don't remember, this is a clip of her being interviewed by a Tara Palmieri, who's a podcaster, and this is how it went.
The indictment alleges that you and others, quote, surrounded a federal officer's vehicle, banged on its hood and windows, etched pig on the side, and impeded movement. Did you etch the word pig on the side of an officer's car?
I'm not speaking to the specifics of anything that's in the indictment right now, but like I said, I do plan on pleading not guilty, and the evidence will come out in court, and I plan on winning.
Okay. Well, let's watch the video of what happened that day that they are.
I love this. So she's sitting there on this podcast, and Kat is like, I'm not gonna. She's running for Congress. I said she lost yesterday. She's like, I'm gonna plead not guilty and blah blah blah. And so Tara's like, well, why don't I just show you what you did, and we can figure all that out. I'll just play the video here for you. So standing in front of the car and pounding on the federal agent's car.
But when you see that, what do you think right now?
Tara, once again, this is my first time being federally indicted. Like I said, I plan on pleading 9.
I love it how this is. I don't know. This is my first time being federally indicted. It's like, really? I mean, seriously. And she laughed.
Not guilty. The evidence will come out in court, and I plan on winning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Just really quickly, I did want to ask you about just the fact that, like, conspiracy to impede an officers up to 6 years in prison, forcibly impeding and intimidating an officers up to 8 years. Is that that could actually hinder your ability to serve in Congress? Are you concerned about that?
I'm gone already. Sorry. I left.
Did she just sign off?
Yeah. Yeah, she rage quitted.
Did she just leave the chat?
Yeah, she did.
I'm so confused. I'm sorry.
I like this Tara Palmieri woman. But anyway, so she lost yesterday. And so, I think there's a possibility that the same state that did elect a Republican governor and a couple Republican governors is kind of maybe starting to right itself a little bit. I mean, even Democrats at some point can't tolerate these lunatics who are destroying their futures in their parties. I mean, Tallarico came up with another winner that I'll tell you about anyway. And believe me, I was the first one to tell you, wasn't I, that Tallarico is an absolute wolf in sheep's clothing. And every day since that time, something crazy has come out about him, and you won't believe what his next performance happens to be. And speaking of performances, we have this weird thing where Ben Stiller, have you seen these at Whole Foods? Ben Stiller has figured, I know what I'll do. I'll come up with because there aren't enough varieties of soda out there, I'm going to come up with Stiller, which is a bunch of flavored sodas that have his name on the front of it. And you're like, I'm sorry, Ben who? Yeah, I know. Because he hasn't had a movie out, I think, a successful movie out since the 2000s. But Stiller has decided, he and Tom Hanks has decided to come out with a coffee. And I was like, Tom who? I mean, it's crazy. And the one guy that was able to pull that off, as you all know, was Paul Newman. But Paul Newman didn't, and the Paul Newman dressings are apparently pretty good. But Paul Newman didn't piss off 70% of America before they released their product, like the way Ben Stiller did. So there's a lot of fun to be had, a lot to talk about here on this 3 Martini Lunch Wednesday, my friends. Back from Cabo. Nice to see you all again. Allison, thank you so much. It's good to see you too. It's Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Beautiful day, too. So I got lucky, right? I come home last night at 12:45 a.m. It's like 25 degrees, and now we're back 60s and 70s. So I don't know what I did to deserve such luck and to be back with all of you. It's Common Sense Radio, News Talk STL 101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Buckingham Pest Control, BuckinghamPestControl.com. Even though we did have kind of a string of some crazy weather over the weekend and a little bit of snow and cold and everything else, summer is definitely in the offing. I know springs in St. Louis are really terrible, and that's just what they are. It's the most unpleasant time most of the time in the year is springtime, but because it's really not spring. It's like freezing cold in April. So I'd rather just have it snow and get it over with. But anyway, we're going to get to summer pretty soon, and you guys are going to be opening up your pools or spreading out the patio furniture, ready to be outside, and you are not going to be ready this time around to be bitten by mosquitoes. And it's a bummer. It's a drag to have all the pests around. And on top of that, because after all, we're in Maha land, right? We're Make America Healthy Again. You don't want to be spraying off all over your body, right? I mean, you just don't want to do that situation. So listen to this. What you want to do in one way, shape, or form is get to Buckingham Pest Control. BuckinghamPestControl.com is the website. Noel Buckingham is a longtime friend of mine, and he has some really groovy ways of making sure these treatments are strong, they last, they do well for you, and you are pest-free outside and also DEET-free on your skin. It's really cool. He can take care of that for you as well. He also has certain plans for you if you're worried about the pets and that kind of stuff. Most of that stuff is not really harmful to pets anyway, but he does have assurances for you, believe me. On top of that, don't forget, as I have mentioned initially when Noel came back to the show, and I appreciate that. He's been supporting Common Sense Radio for a long time. Let's talk about the tap insulation. It is thermally superior, acoustically superior, and pest control superior. That's right. It's pest control insulation with a proprietary element of pest control in it in your attic. Attic is where most of the pets come in anyway, so you can drop them and stop them right there in your attic with the tap insulation and also get a Spire rebate and get it in lickety-splickety. BuckinghamPestControl.com. That's BuckinghamPestControl.com.
Tim Jones here for Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. They've helped me recover from day-to-day aches and pains for years. And here's something special, personal training programs. Whether you're an athlete committed to increasing performance, recovering from an injury, or just want to get healthier and lose weight, their personal training programs will help you reach your goals and stay there. Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, online at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
Previously, I've told you about dustless blasting, a special service offered by Wellington Environmental. It could work for you in your place. Recently, a crew removed a driveway sealer that had failed. The owner wanted to go back to the original concrete so it could be properly sealed. Dustless blasting worked. That homeowner is happy. Now, sometimes surfaces need pressure washing instead of blasting. In fact, there was an exterior stone fireplace cleansed by pressure washing, and when it dried, all the dark stain was gone. That stone had its original appearance. Wellington is versatile with blasting. Dustless blasting or whatever you need. They will evaluate and make a decision. How do you get them to your door? Very easy. Call 314-644-4930. 644-4930. Wellington Environmental, making your world great. In fact, be safe, be well with Wellington Environmental.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
New York City Mayor Mondami has some good news for New Yorkers. Now that he's in office, he's realizing New York City is truly in a fiscal mess. But wait, he's got a plan to help citizens have more money. The current $17 minimum wage will be raised to $30. Great news. That won't happen overnight, but by 2030, all public employees should be getting $30 an hour. Well, what's your question? How much will $30 be worth in 2030? You're such a party pooper. In fact, you're just like a financial analyst who said you don't make a place more affordable by making workers earn more. In fact, if they're going to be earning more, you can bet the prices will go up. And he added, when these champagne socialists, his words, champagne socialists earn more, everything they're buying will cost more. Mondami insists living in the world's richest city, minimum wage should not mean living in poverty. So he's pushing 30 for 30, $30 by 2030. Great news? Huh. Either way, it's in the junk pile of socialist ideas.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Wednesday to all of you. It's Common Sense Radio. It's the 3 Martini Lunch. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here and Ashton over there, and I am happy to be back from Cabo, even though it was a wonderful time on the beach and with my daughter Lily, and sunshine and fun and just a little bit of an escape, and had a wonderful time. So in the morning, I would get up really super early in the morning because the sunrise over the Pacific was so beautiful. And we were at a part of the... Oh, and by the way, I brought my vintage cameras down there, and then I took a bunch of pictures, but I forgot to separate the film, like in a separate bag, and have it not scanned, and have it hand scanned. But I'm trying my luck. So if you guys know a camera store, because I got the film in the cameras, now I can't get it out, and I also broke one of the spools, so trying, I don't know. Need to bone up on that. I think there's a Schmidt's camera shop or something. You guys know a specialty camera shop around? Let me know. But anyway, I'd wake up super early, and we were in a part of the of Cabo where you didn't swim the ocean, and Lily didn't mind. Ever since she was a baby, she hated going onto the beach in the ocean because she didn't want the sand on her feet. It was funny. Oh, Schiller. Thank you, Allison. That's what I was thinking of. Right. Exactly. Schiller. I'm going to take the cameras to Schiller and have them help me out. But it's not that she's a crab about it. She just was we did go to the beach, but it wasn't a problem for me to choose an area that did not have like a walk down beach to it, because it does have a walk down beach, but you shall not walk down to the beach because the waves literally, whenever they came in, sounded like sonic booms if you were at the pool. I'm going to put a video up. I'm going to make a video for you, and I'll put a video up of our little memories from Cabo just to fill you in on what that was like. And I almost got Lily to horseback ride because there were horses on the beach, which I thought was just outstanding. And Friday night, I'm like, hey, there were horses on the beach. We should ride one. Oh, yeah, that's true. We should. And then by Saturday, she's like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm like, okay. So it was kind of funny. But anyway, I would go and I would collect, that's what I would do in the morning. I would take my pictures and I would go and collect seashells because I love doing that, because you never know and you find like a really cool seashell. And I do love them. And I found one for Lily that actually already had a hole in it. So I can make a necklace out of it. I'm going to take it to Newstetter's Fine Jewelry and have Diana just put a gold chain through it, and it will be a necklace for Lily. It's this beautiful pink white shell that already has the hole in it, bored by, I guess, what are the things? Are they crabs or something? But they bore into the hole and the shell and eat the inside of it, and that's how they do it. But so I got that, and I also found a shell, and it's interesting because Ashlyn's grandma is a sweetheart. Ashlyn, what's your grandma's name again? Because I think
it's Becky.
Becky, that's right. So Ashlyn told me last week about these beautiful little things that Becky wanted to give to me, and these are these beautiful Jerusalem crosses that are made from the olive tree wood. And I don't know whether you guys have ever seen kind of stuff made in Jerusalem. These are so beautiful and wonderful. And thank you, Becky. That's gorgeous. And, of course, Ashton said it came with a note a verbal note that if I wanted to, I could just hand them out the way I handed out those little Jesuses when I was handing out like these little Jesuses and saying everybody needs a little Jesus. And so Ashton got one of those. But now I have these beautiful little crosses, and it just so happens, and thank you very much, Becky and Ashton, for that. It just so happens that I found a seashell that now I know belongs to Becky, because it is a seashell on the shore that has the imprint of a fossil cross on it, which is pretty interesting. It's not like a full cross, but it looked enough like a cross to me that I was really super intrigued by it. But it was like a fossil indented into the shell. So you can give that to Becky from me in appreciation for the crosses. And so now we both have a couple of crosses from each other.
That's so cool. She actually loves fossils. She's like fascinated.
Oh,
with
nice.
That, so this is
really
perfect.
Yep. Right off the beaches of the southernmost tip of the Baja Peninsula there in Mexico. Good. That's nice. Sweet. I do love seashells, but these crosses are beautiful, and I will hold them near and dear. All right. You know what's interesting? And like I said in Illinois with the elections yesterday, it looks like people are starting to, even Democrats are starting to say, I don't know about these left-wing crazies. Like, I'm not really into this. I didn't kind of like buy into this. And I think what's happened is that the left-wing crazies have so taken over the Democrat Party, and they did it. It's kind of like how we wound up being taken over by the Rhino Republicans early on during the days of George Bush and everything else. And by the way, I don't get me started, but I am not. I'm not the person who I think a little harder than this. Just so you know, so I'm not the person who says Bush went into Iraq, Trump went into Iran. Bush, Iraq, Trump, Iran. What's the difference? I'm sorry. all you have to do is think about it for about 10 more minutes, and you understand the difference between what's happening with Iran and what happened with Iraq. So I don't need to spend a lot of time on this show trying to explain to you how, because you guys already know. The problem is what you're seeing on all the Facebook pages and everything else are people just saying there's no difference between Trump and Bush, and we all know that that's a lie, and we also know that it's purposely done by the Republican Trump haters and the Democrat Trump haters and everything else. One of the funniest things I saw was one of my Facebook friends on my personal page, and I don't really get involved in politics with these people. I see them. They're all liberal, some of them liberal. They went to high school with him and everything else. And this guy, who I know him, and he puts up a meme that says, "Thou shalt not kill." and I know this guy. Here's a guy who's quoting the 10 Commandments. Like, and believe me, if some Republican went out there and quoted the 10 Commandments, he'd call him a Christian nationalist. I know it for a fact. Thou shalt not kill, right? You mean like Obama did? I mean, these people, I'm telling you, some of these Democrats and some of these people are the very definition of flat earthers. They're just running around, they're acting like nobody knows what they're up to. Like nobody knows how stupid they sound. Thou shalt not kill. Right, buddy. Uh-huh. I get it. But when you're a left winger and you're quoting the Bible on your Facebook page, yeah, you are absolutely being dishonest and disingenuous, but that's what's kind of happening. But anyway, I don't want to get into this whole thing. I know a lot of these navel-gazing libertarians and all these, what's the difference? I didn't vote for that. He's a warmonger. It's like, that's not true. Even the guy who resigns, when this joker who resigned, claiming, this is all for Israel, was 2 years ago saying President Trump needs to finish the job and everything else. So it's all a lie. It's all a sham. I'll tell you later about what's happening with Time Magazine, who decided they were going to do a whole list of things that the money for Iran could have been used for. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. They've never done that with the Somali fraud money or the wasteful spending that was found from Doge or anything else, but they're doing with the Iran war, but I'll take them apart a little later on. I don't want to get too far over the map. Back to what I was getting at. It looks like even some Democrats are starting to really see that. I mean, and Mamdani's going to be proof of that. He's going to be the best example of the mutt betrayal that's going on in this country from these mutts like Mamdani, who are elected on the pretense that they're some kind of just a happy-go-lucky Muslim guy, whatever, and they're actually really creepy, anti-American, pro-Islamic colonization socialists. And I'll give you an example of that with Mamdani's St. Patrick's Day address. Oh, my Lord. These people are just out of their minds. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So it seems like some Democrats are starting to normalize a little bit, and realizing their party has been taken over by a bunch of anti-American, destructive people. And I think what's happening is they're thinking that some wolf in sheep's clothing like Tallarico is going to solve all their problems, but that's not the case. Tallarico is going to burn them and lose, just like any other phony Democrat socialist. So, and he's the worst though, but he'll be exposed. But we saw that in the Republican Party, and we made a conscious effort to change the Republican Party, and it came through basically transforming it into the Trump version of the Republican Party. Conservatism, yeah. Little populism, yeah. Whatever you want to call it. I really don't care. But it's Trumpism. It's Make America Great Again, and that's what it's all about. And it's happening. And the Democrats and the Republicans, who are the rhinos, are quickly trying to take back the steering wheel, and they'll do it in any way, shape, or form they possibly can, and sometimes with their phony type of stuff that's going on where they're trying to bring up all these dumb issues and everything else, including the woman from the Bulwark who also made a grave kind of mistake because she's like the anti-Trump person. Anyway, so the Democrats, it seems like even most people and most liberals are turning on Hollywood. And I'll give you a good example of how that's happening, because Republicans aren't going to buy Ben Stiller's soda. And conservatives aren't going to buy his soda. He's alienated 70% of the country. So Ben Stiller, who's 60 years old, by the way, decides he's going to come out with a brand new line of soda with, and he's going to stand in front of a mirror or a camera holding Stiller's soda, as it's called, and trying to act like he's not 60 years old and a washed-up actor who hasn't had a box office hit since 2014 and Night at the Museum, which, by the way, was a pretty good movie. Your body is so sweet, sweet, sweet. Invite me if you come. Yeah, you're 60, dude. Okay? And you're trying to promote the soda. So he goes to Whole Foods and he has a whole thing.
Hey, hi. Would you like to try a sample?
Aren't you Ben Stiller?
No.
You're Ben Stiller?
No, I'm just the guy giving
You're Ben Stiller.
I'm not.
So anyway, and it's funny because some people on the internet were like, why does Ben Stiller look like an old lesbian? Which I don't really do that, but that's what they're saying. I'm not saying it. They're saying it. So most of the people at Whole Foods, though, when you see these videos, he waited a long time, because there's another video of him sitting there at Whole Foods and nobody is coming up to him. Like somebody with an iPhone is like videotaping him and he's just standing there and this is like for how long? Yeah, it's like for 45 seconds. And nobody's coming up to him in any way, shape, or form and saying, oh, hey, Ben Stiller, because most of the people don't know who the hell he is. And then you have Tom Hanks, who has, and by the way, who told Ben Stiller that there are not enough varieties of soda and that a new soda with the name of an actor who hasn't had a hit since 2014 and who pissed off half the country, at least, with his left-wing politics, is going to be successful selling his soda. I don't know who told him that. Meanwhile, Tom Hanks is deciding that he's going to come out with his own form of coffee.
Hank's Coffee is going to be available in Walmart.
Hank's Coffee.
Hank's Coffee is going to be available in Walmart stores in every single state of the union as of February of 2026. Now, I'm not saying every store. I'm just saying stores in every state.
Why? And I think it's because Tom Hanks thinks that he's still a thing. And again, not one of those guys who has already pissed off half the country with his left-wing politics and his tweets and all that other nonsense. And on top of that, someone told him that, hey, it would be a good idea to put your face on the box. That's like, why? I mean, there's really no reason for it.
They are going to have dark roast and mild roast. And here's some extra big news. Chocolate turtle. It's a flavor that some people are just going to absolutely adore. All profits from the sale of this carton and all of our products go to support veterans and their families through a network of trusted partners and organizations.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad thing. I guess if you want to do that, I mean, to me, there are better ways to support veterans than by buying overpriced celebrity coffee that costs money to make and package and everything else. And so I can only imagine what the overhead is in distribution, everything else, and just at what point, where does the money actually go? Like, how much of it actually goes to veterans? You'd be better off writing a check directly to the Freedom 13 or Heroes Care or whatever than going out and buying, that the Hank's coffee. Well, there's a reason why apparently this is happening, and this is a poll that was done, and it determined that only 29% of California voters believe that Hollywood has a positive effect on the culture. And you always saw that. Well, you didn't see it because you didn't watch. But a lot of people saw that when you watched the Oscars, if you did. This is a UC Berkeley Citron Center for Public Opinion Research and Politico. So they mixed together. Found that 48% of Californians, these are Californians, by the way, 48% of Californians feel that Hollywood has too much influence on politics in the Golden State. Worse, only 29% view the entertainment industry in a favorable light. Only 29% view the entertainment industry in a favorable light. So that might just be the reason why nobody's buying your coffee, Ben, or your soda, Ben, and your coffee, Hank. Nice try, though. Hey, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the glorious Rick Pogue joining us at 1 o'clock. And the Mamdani St. Patrick's Day address is one for the ages. There are so many warnings in this speech that he gave, this little video that he gave, the never-ending video, it seems. So many warnings here that I hope people ultimately see. This is Common Sense Radio. It's a happy Wednesday, everybody.
Thanks for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Radio news junkie. Love every bit about it.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about my friends at Gemini Wealth Group. And here is the skinny on the Gemini Wealth Group. It's like having 5 rock stars in the investment portfolio business, in the retirement portfolio business, all that kind of stuff. It's like having 5, like a team, like the Guardians of the Galaxy like group of people who are helping you out and making sure that you are going to enjoy your golden years without any financial stress in any way, shape, or form. And what they do is they take your portfolio, they sit down with you first of all. And I don't know how many people they have sat down with who have said, I don't know, I do want to retire, but I still like this paycheck. And I'm not quite sure, like, whether I want to let go of the paycheck. Well, what they do ultimately is they sit you down and they walk you through everything they're going to do for you. So they're going to say, hey, we're going to go ahead and diversify this investment portfolio for you. And we're going to put it in investments because we know how to do this. They have a proprietary type of approach to investiture. And they pick these rockin' stocks and these rockin' kinds of bonds and these rockin' all these other things that I'm way above my pay grade on that. And they take care of business, and their goal is to ultimately make sure that you could perhaps live off of your dividends for a long, long time before you actually have to dig into anything substantial in the actual package that you have. So it just grows your money. You're very comfortable. And on top of that, you're in a situation where you're going to be able to live off that. They're going to show you how you can, kind of plan for your housing, plan for your medical bills, all that other stuff. Maybe even have some money left over for the grandkids for college, all that kind of stuff, and they make it happen for you. And then suddenly what they do is they present you with your permission slip to retire. These are great guys, longtime supporters of free, common sense, conservative radio. It's the GeminiWealthGroup.com, the GeminiWealthGroup.com.
Join the Franklin County Republican Central Committee for the 2026 Annual Lincoln Reagan Banquet, Thursday, March 26th at 333 Vineyards in Washington, Missouri. Meet local and statewide elected officials, enjoy a catered dinner, gun raffle, silent auction, and hear from special guest Doug Billings. Help us hold on to the U.S. House and Senate in 2026. Visit fcrcc.org. That's fcrcc.org. Lincoln Reagan Banquet, March 26th at 333 Vineyards.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint, formulated to outsmart the elements. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, mold or mildew. Our home exterior coatings intelligently designed to stand up to Mother Nature. Call 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Colombo and Company.
The debate over the SAVE Act has hit the Senate floor. We'll get you the latest Wednesday and a preview of the second half of the Missouri legislative session with Rodney Boyd, plus Danny Define and closest cabinet.
Live and local, weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you, everybody. Yeah. I got to tell you, and happy 3 Martini lunch, by the way. I really like, sometimes it's funny because while I was gone, I appreciate Larry filling in and Tim and Paul. But I get notifications like when somebody mentions me in their comments or whatever, and so this guy named Dan Hellman, who is your classic kind of fat, bearded, liberal boomer, goes on the shows and Jamie Allman, you runt, F you, never does that when I'm on. And I don't know, did you see that, Ashley, when Larry was on?
No.
Yeah, he comes in because he's a coward is what he is. And he and his dumb wife have a band called Harpo and the Heathers. So you guys can look him up. But can you imagine being like, and he's like a musician, But can you imagine being in that situation where you have to go on just like somebody's Facebook page while they're broadcasting and F-bomb them and I mean, they're so angry. It's like, dude, you've got a band. It's like, these liberals are so angry all the time, and they do all their Harpo and the Heathers. They must be an awful band because the last time I looked them up, because I track them down. It's not hard to track these people down, but the last time they played anywhere was like in December, so apparently they're not really heavily in demand. And they look like you would imagine looking like, There's Fat Dan with his beard and his tie-dye T-shirt and his fat stomach playing his bass guitar. You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, thanks, Dan, for checking in. That's just funny. These people are so angry. I don't even know why, how in the F-bombing and all that kind of stuff, even the politicians are doing it. I was talking to my buddy, one of my complaints has been, because I do a radio show here, and half the time, like even Megyn Kelly, whom, oh lordy, by the way, have you seen that self-destruction going on with her and what's his nuts? Now I can't. Oh, Mark Levin and Tucker Carlson. What's going on with these people? But Megyn Kelly is such a potty mouth. I couldn't even play half the stuff that's coming out of her dirt mouth anyway on my show. I mean, it got to the point where I got a little agitated at J.D. Vance because, honestly, cussing, and I cuss sometimes, you know what I mean? But cussing doesn't, from a professional level, doesn't do much for your credibility or your emphasis. And whether it's BS or whether it's the F-bomb, whatever, it just doesn't come across very well. It's kind of like chewing gum. It doesn't look right. Sorry for those of you who chew gum, but it doesn't look right. I'm just saying, but man, and I was telling this guy, it's like half the time I can't play these guys on my air because they're cussing and we're FCC regulated, so it's like, he's like, do you bleep it out? I'm like, no. If they're not going to respect themselves, I can't respect them any more than they respect themselves, right? Hey, Rick Pogue's on his way, ladies and gentlemen. It's Common Sense Radio.
Hey, it's Vic. If you have a tree that you think is dead, you can get Roots Plus to remove it for you. Or if you think the tree is savable, or if Roots Plus thinks it's savable, they can save your tree and you keep your cash. Call them and find out what that's all about at 314-440-3662. The crews are great. They get things done. They removed the tree for me, and they did expert work, and I definitely will put my name on their company. So save the tree with Roots Plus LLC. RootsPlusLLC.com.
If you love your pet, which I know you do, then they deserve the excellent treatment and care they'll receive at Pacific Animal Hospital in Pacific, Missouri, a full-service veterinarian facility. Originally built and grown by my dad, Dr. Bill Jones, a new generation of wonderful veterinarians and staff at Pacific continue to provide outstanding medical, surgical, dental, boarding, and grooming services for your favorite furry friends. Our family entrusts the care of our pets only to the experienced docs and staff at Pacific Animal Hospital. You should too. Call them today, 636-257-2100, 24/7 at PacificVets.com, PacificVets.com.
Hey, Tony Colombo here, inviting you out for a great night of fun and rock and roll with the Queen Tribute Somebody to Love, Friday, March 20th at the Mill in Granite City. My band, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick, opens the show, followed by the ultimate Queen experience from Somebody to Love. That's Friday, March 20th at the Mill, Granite City's premier concert and event venue, brought to you by Weber Chevrolet. Support local music and join us for a great party. Tickets and info now at themill.events.
Country Mart in St. Clair is having a 16-hour sale. Saturday, March 21st, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Stock up with unbeatable prices. 2 pound of red ripe strawberries, $2.99. Dozen Best Choice Grade A large eggs, 2 for $3. Family pack ground beef, $4.19 a pound. 6-pack Pepsi products, 3 for $9. Family pack of chicken drumsticks, $1.19 a pound. Chester's 8-piece fried chicken, $9.99. Hurry while supplies last. See all items on our Facebook page. Country Mart on Plaza Drive in St. Clair.
KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
slipping through the Strait of Hormuz.
About 90 ships, including oil tankers, have crossed the Strait of Hormuz since the beginning of the war with Iran. Maritime and trade data platforms report it's still exporting millions of barrels of oil at a time, when it says it closed the key waterway for vessels of the US and its allies. And analysts say Iranian oil export volumes remain resilient. Many of the vessels that have passed through the strait are so-called dark transits, evading Western sanctions that likely have ties with Iran. More recently, vessels with ties to India and Pakistan have also successfully crossed the strait. I'm Charles Dillevesman.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard told the Senate Intelligence Committee today that 5 countries pose a serious missile threat to the U.S.
The intelligence community assesses that Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, and Pakistan have been researching and developing an array of novel, advanced, or traditional missile delivery systems with nuclear and conventional payloads that put our homeland within range.
Vice President J.D. Vance paid a visit today to Auburn Hills, Michigan, in the wake of last week's attack at Temple Israel in West Bloomfield.
We've got the FBI searching for people who have come in, usually illegally, to the United States of America, who might wish the United States ill will. We're continuing to get illegal criminals out of our country because those are very often the people who commit acts of violence against the United States of America, against our people. So there's a lot that we're working on.
Vance spoke today at a manufacturing plant. While at the facility, he delivered remarks on the U.S. economy. He was also asked about the administration's efforts to keep America safe in the wake of the continued conflict in Iran. On Wall Street, the Dow right now down by 387 points. More from townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
How about sunshine, dry, and mild? Yeah, beautiful pattern in place as we start to warm things up heading toward the weekend. Sunny skies today with an increase in cloudiness by this evening, but still a pleasant day. And it looks dry as well. The high temperature in the mid-60s. Tomorrow we'll be in the 70s, and by Friday and the weekend, near or above 80 degrees. Nice warming trend. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michaels Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michaels has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michaels Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Ever feel like just a number in a waiting room? Hi, I'm Shannon Tribune, Director of Operations with Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Navigating the medical system can be a maze of stress. I'm your personal guide at Body of Health. I handle the messy parts of medical care, the logistics and complex coordination both in and outside our walls, so you and Dr. Tobler, that's my dad, can focus on what matters most, your health. At Body of Health, you're not just a patient, you're part of the family, because that's healthcare the way it ought to be. To learn more, schedule a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com.
When insurance companies know you're represented by Under Law, they know Under is not going to let you be pushed around. Their reputation is built on years of courtroom battles. If you suffer an injury or damage to your property, serve the insurance company notice. You have Under Law on your side. A St. Louis firm you can trust to protect you at every term. Don't settle for less. You want to win? Believe me, Under wins. Under, O-N-D-E-R, underlaw.com.
Number one for live and local.
Conservative talk.
You can take these facts. I know for a fact. It's just about time.
It's not now. When?
Oh, there's just so much to say and not enough time to say it or do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is our country. This is the country that you and I love.
I'm kind of not surprised.
Man, that's what they need.
Very upset.
A lot of fear.
I agree with that, and well, who couldn't agree with it? It's a fact.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number one for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
We'll prevail.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. The 3 Martini lunch. Jamie Allman here, Ashton over there, and it's all about Common Sense Radio. Hard to believe, like 2 days ago, I was on a boat off of the coast of Cabo with my daughter Lily. Yeah, Monday we took a boat ride. It was really cool because we saw whales and like these jumping manta rays and sea lions that the Mexicans call dogs. It's kind of cute, actually. They'd see some sea lions popping out, they go, dogs. And the truth of the matter is sea lions actually look more like dogs than they do lions. So technically, they're on to something. But it's great. It was a fun time, and I'll tell you a story about Lily a bit later on. Lily and boys a little later on. But anyway, it was really, I was a blessing to be able to take that time off and take a trip with Lily. It was fun. And Cabo's great. You guys, Mexico, I don't know, people were all freaking out about the cartels and stuff. It's like, in Cabo, they're definitely nowhere to be seen in Cabo. Well, I mean, I was on a resort, so, and we did drive down to the marina for the boat. I took an Uber there. I mean, you know, with the exception of the Uber not having shock absorbers, that was about the only thing that I was telling Lily, like, I don't think this car has shock absorbers. And she goes, what are those? I'm like, oh yeah, of course. You're not like from the age of Jamie Allman and Rick Pogue, who is still a young man, but we're the last of a generation of people who know what shock absorbers are, right, buddy? How you doing?
Yes, or know it just about anything anymore. I'm doing well. I love Cabo, man. I'm glad you had a good time there. Did you have a good birthday week?
Oh, yeah, I did, man. Thank you so much. It was fun. I left the day after my birthday and flew out on Friday with Lily, and so it was a great week, a great weekend. And so, yeah, Cabo is great. I honestly don't think I want to go anywhere else the rest of my life.
That. I was there last time I was there was 2022. We were there for Sammy Hagar's 75th birthday bash at his Cabo Wabo campus.
Yeah.
Did you go to Cabo Wabo while you were there?
I did not. We kind of were on a tight thing because we were really only there for 3 full days and 4 nights, or 5 nights. And so we did the boat ride on Monday, but stayed around the resort Saturday and Sunday. So, but I heard about it, and apparently the Uber driver I had is like, he's a huge fan of Sammy Hagar and then Toby Keith. Like, Toby Keith apparently is down there a lot, or was down there a lot.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that as well. Yeah, they became really good friends after they did that. Sammy Hagar had this show where he was interviewing rock stars. I don't know if you ever saw that show, but they became pretty good friends after that, I heard.
Oh, yeah.
You're right about Cabo. It's the best place. It's the best place I've ever been to.
No doubt about it. And even when those things were going on at Puerto Vallarta and Cancun, it was all about a day because the cartels know, like, you don't mess with tourists because then suddenly at that point you'll be hammered by the government, because that's the only way they make money.
They're on the terrorist list now, so Trump will bomb them. So they better watch their step.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy, and they've got some pretty. It's funny how Mexico, like for instance, you can't. I was talking to this guy. You can't get dual citizenship in Mexico unless you prove that you have money and resources and a job. You realize that? Like they won't let you come into the country if you can't prove that you're going to make the country better. Isn't that crazy?
Well, yeah. What a crazy notion.
I know.
What a ridiculous notion, At one point, I guess we had the same notion here, but that's out the window now. Just come one, come all. No borders. I can't believe the American people have tolerated as much of that as they have so far. I really cannot believe it.
Yeah, and how dare Zoran Mamdani, and I'll play this for folks later on, how dare him compare the plight of the Irish as immigrants in America to the plight of these handout, siphoning, blood-sucking Muslims and others who come here and colonize the country and take our resources and everything else and hardly work a day in their lives, and comparing themselves to the Irish immigrants who put up with so much abuse here when they first came here is just unbelievable,
They put up with all that abuse, and they came here with the full intent of working their asses off and proving that they deserve to be here. It's completely turned around now. I think people like Mamdani, these nutty leftist, progressive liberal communists, they like muddy in the waters. So you take something noble like the way the Irish came over here and worked their way into our society, and you just compare yourself to that. It muddies the water. It elevates you and brings them down. I think that's part of their conversation all the time.
Yeah, and I'm not talking, like, for instance, I'm not specifically only talking about Muslims, but when you look, like, for instance, I know Muslims in St. Louis who are very productive. They're business owners. The ones who took care of my mom, her son runs a clothing shop, and all this kind of stuff. So there are people like that, but for the other ones come here with the explicit desire of just simply attaching their blood-sucking lips to whatever teat they can find that will dispense money or aid or whatever else. The only immigrants that truly seem to be doing well here, I mean, I'm talking about like people who build businesses and stuff like that, seem to be like the Bosnians and the Russians and those guys, because those guys and some Muslims and some Indians, obviously. But for the most part, the immigration system here in this country is just simply, unlike Mexico's immigration system, we're just simply allowing people to come here and squat as long as they want to. And ironically, as I pointed out, Mexico doesn't allow that at all. You got to prove that you're ready to rock and roll. You can't, even as a person out of the country, you cannot own rental property or anything like that if you're not a Mexican.
Yeah, well, and not only Mexico, Jamie, but what country, other countries, civilized countries in the world do the same thing. They don't just allow you can't just fly over there and move in. Like you're a citizen. It's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous notion.
Yeah, you have to put it in some kind of bank trust or something. So anybody who has property down there or whatever, if you're not a Mexican, you have to put the property in a bank trust. And meanwhile, we're here and we're like letting the Chinese buy up entire neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
China should not be allowed to purchase property in the United States, in my opinion. If we cannot buy property there, they should not be able to buy property here. Period.
Totally agree. I mean, and what's funny is it's seemingly the only people that seem to really disagree with stuff like this happen to be on Capitol Hill, much like the only people that seemingly disagree with voter ID seem to be actually on Capitol Hill. I'm wondering whether our politicians are just simply our worst problems right now.
Well, I think they are. I think they're the big part of the problem. A lot of them are having their pockets lined by the Chinese in many different ways. You know, China has what is that? They have a 40-year plan or something to take this country down, and you know, part of that plan is infiltrating our government, and they have done that quite successfully. Look at Swalwell, the inept moron running for governor. You know, what was that gal's name? Fang.
Yeah.
You know, he had a relationship with a frickin' Chinese spy, and he's running for governor. I mean,
yeah,
it's like the Twilight Zone.
I'm telling you. And you know what's funny is the way I like the internet to some degree because you can figure out the way really how really crazily people think. So there's one bit, you guys, you know, the Bulwark, like it's a group of people who are all the anti-Trump Republicans, you know, the ones who are the consultants who never won anything. One of the jobs in the Trump administration didn't get them. So they formed a paper or a blog called the Bulwark, right? So they're all a bunch of these so-called conservatives. So she comes out and talks about how, this crackdown on the CDL licenses for truck drivers is really going to be driving up the costs of of our goods, you know. And it's this woman who said that, and obviously that's happening. It's one of the reasons why that between Mark Wayne Mullen today doing his testimony, there was the Teamsters president sitting behind him, because the Teamsters are going to be right on Mark Wayne Mullen to continue with this crackdown on the CDL licenses of these foreigners and everybody else. But this Bulwark person, your typical white liberal, although feigning as a conservative woman, who apparently wants to make sure her lipstick remains at the proper price, as well as her Fiji water, as some people noted on the web. But nobody's willing to seemingly to sacrifice for anything in this country. Not nobody, but a lot of people are not.
No, they're not. They're not. And you know, Mullen, that Teamster boss, wasn't that the guy he almost got in a fist fight with?
Yeah.
I mean, they've come a long way, haven't they?
I know. Yeah. Well, because all under the tent of Trump, who tends to kind of, you know, it's funny how they call him so divisive, but he tends to bring really very interesting itinerant people together, you know.
Well, amazing things happen, Jamie, when you have a conversation, when you're willing to actually have a conversation. And, you know, that's one thing I like about Bill Maher. You know, I disagree with him on just about everything, but the man will say, he will speak the truth. He's intellectually honest, I guess is the best way to say it. You know, when it comes to, you know, what we're doing in Iran and you know, the Muslim faction that wants to destroy America and destroy Israel. You know, we need more people like that in that party.
I agree. I mean, I think that, you know, occasionally it's kind of, you know, listen, Bill Maher and Stephen A. Smith are kind of strange to me, because I never can figure out, like, because, you know, I'll play them like a soundbite from them. Wow, this makes a lot of sense. And then the next time around, Bill Maher will say something really vicious about Trump. It's like, oh, darn it, you know. But yeah, I think you're right. That's a good point you make about having that kind of mixture. And actually, interestingly enough, I think you raise a point about like a Bill Maher. Bill Maher doesn't have to be angry the way some of these other people are. Like you can actually disagree and not get into like this knockdown, drag him out fist fight.
Yeah, and he actually comes out and says, why is my party, meaning the Democrats Party, why is my party so angry? Why are liberals so angry? And he goes, and you know, another point, I saw a clip today, it pops up on Facebook all the time. Why do liberals hate being liberated so much? Like what's going on in Venezuela and Iran? It just makes no sense. And it comes back to TDS, unfortunately. Most of it just comes back to Trump derangement syndrome. And it comes, you know, it's like everybody says over and over, if you cured cancer, they would stand up for cancer. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's weird because there was at some point people who were I played a soundbite last week from a guy interviewing a liberal woman, and he said, how come you guys are all about free Palestine but not free Iran? That doesn't make any sense at all. And she couldn't answer the question and eventually just kind of shut everything down and walked away.
Yeah, well, that's what they have to do. In the end, that's what they have to do because they cannot be intellectually honest. They can't defend their position, so they run or they disappear off the podcast or things like that, because they have to. You can't defend the indefensible.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And then also on the other hand, and I'm going to deal with this later on, Time Magazine, I didn't even know Time Magazine still existed. I remember getting it at the house a long time ago as a kid and all that stuff. But apparently Time Magazine still exists. So anyway, they did a whole article, and you wouldn't believe what they were talking about. They did a whole article about if we took the amount of money we spent on the Iranian war, what we could do with that money to help people, right? So, oddly enough, they've never done that for the $2 billion that Obama dumped in Iran's lap, right? They've never done that for all the Doge over expenditures and fraud that we found. They've never done that for that, and they've never done that for the Somali fraud. They're now just picking out the war. Like, we could buy this many books for children. It's like, really?
Oh, yeah. And they never will do it. Remember the wall Trump wanted to build the wall? It was $11 billion, and it was just a ridiculous amount of money. It could never happen. How much waste was there in Minnesota? But they can never, ever defend their position because literally it's indefensible. Stuff that common sense things to you and I and most Americans, they know at the end of the day, and I say this over and over again, they can say the sky is purple, and they know close to 40% of the American public will believe it.
Yeah.
And that's what they run. I think that's why they more and more just blatantly just lie when they know they're lying, because they believe they have enough of the American people as suckers that believe anything they say. So they just move forward with it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. It's interesting how they just simply pick and choose the kind of things they're going to get all lathered up about. And I do know that, I guess when you talk about, like, for instance, I saw an article yesterday about the Obama thing in Chicago, that Obama palace that's being built for him. The guy who is the leader or master of the foundation, whatever, makes $740,000 a year. And all of the people who staff it are volunteers. Like, they don't get paid at all. And it's just this monstrosity that's just so expensive. And yet nobody talks about that the way they talk about, for instance, the ballroom at the White House, which is also being paid with private funds. And the workers actually who are working on it are actually getting paid. So it's like, it's really weird. I can't keep up with these people.
Yeah. First president in American history, as far as I know, to do something like that to the White House. And we need bottom line is, it wouldn't matter if he was a Democrat. We need a ballroom there. There should be a ballroom there. And completely funded privately, no taxpayer money going into it, and they can't get behind that either. It's just plain as the nose on your face. And some days it just really wears me out. But we have to stay in the game and stay in the fight.
Right on, brother. All right, so T-Master, who's on the Rumble page, says, I wish there was a hideout sports bar closer to 270 in Page. And T-Master, and he understands why you don't want to be in St. Louis County, but I said, T-Master, there could possibly be one later on. But let me tell you something. At 270 in Page, if you were to go 5 more miles, you'd be getting off at Gravois.
Yes.
And then if you went 3 more miles down the road from Gravois, I think it's like 3, you're in High Ridge so it's basically about 10 miles away from 270 in Page.
Yeah, I mean, you're 270 in Page, you're about 18 minutes at most, 18 minutes away from the hideout.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's not far. You just get off at 270 south to Gravois, make a right, and from there it's just a few miles, and you're right there at Highway PP, double P. And it's right there. It seems like it's in Timbuktu, but it's really not.
No.
Like you said, it's 20 minutes from everywhere.
Yep.
30 minutes from everywhere.
Yeah, and looking forward to Friday in April. Is it the first week of April where we have the big Sunset Patio opening up, everything else?
Yep. April 3rd, Friday,
Okay.
April 3rd. Write it down, everyone. Bobby Ford Band will be on the patio, and it's going to be an absolute blast. It'll be our first patio event of the year, so we're looking forward to that. And look forward to sharing that with you, brother.
Yeah, me too. I will be there for sure. And what was the new? You said you introduced a new food at the Hideout. What was that?
Oh well, they brought Ashley brought the steak sandwich back.
Oh yeah, that's right, man.
Yeah, we have what it is, it's 3 tenderloin medallions. So it's not a tough. It's a very soft, good, tender steak sandwich, and it's phenomenal. You have to try it.
Golly, a steak sandwich, man. That sounds really good. I feel like I was eating so properly when I was actually, considering I was at an all-inclusive place. Their food is really super good, and but it's not a lot. Like there are some people, you could in all-inclusive places are kind of like on a cruise ship. They're piling stuff on their plates. But now I think I'm thinking a steak sandwich is something I got to go to. I didn't eat a whole lot of actually red meat while I was there, so I'm ready.
Oh, for sure. And all of our food is phenomenal. We have pizzas made with the higher end ingredients like you get on the hill. I mean, all of our food is phenomenal. Our wings are phenomenal. We have wraps, and we now we toss our wraps now. So the ingredients that go into our wraps are tossed ahead of time. As anyone who knows wraps knows that's better.
Yeah, it's interesting. That kind of handmade, handcrafted food is just is so great. I mean, I was at at the airport bar. I love airport bars, even though I was with my 16-year-olds. They still let her there. And it was before we took off from Cabo to Chicago yesterday. And I was having a little shot of tequila. I ordered some guacamole and had a beer on the side of it, a Modelo on the side of it, and I asked for some hot sauce, and they brought this hot sauce out. And this is like an airport bar, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, this hot sauce is really good. I said, do you guys make this? And they're like, yeah, we make it right here. They're like, make it at an airport bar. It makes all the difference in the world when you have handcrafted food like you guys do. It's not all shipped in a big fat can, and it makes a difference, man.
No, 100%. And we make our dipping sauces. That's a great point. We make our dipping sauces right there in the house. Our ranch, our blue cheese, our hideout sauce. We make it all right there.
Oh, I bet you Lily. I learned today that Lily loves ranch dressing. So there we go. I'll have to figure out a way to drag her down to the hideout.
Well, we'll have some good food when we're there on April 3rd watching Bobby Ford. So I'm really looking forward to that, brother.
All right. Well, sounds good. Great talking to you. Hey, thanks for posting that memory. So I was on the airplane, and we had kind of intermittent internet on there. And so I was on Facebook. This post came across my feed where it was you and me on the Allman Report on ABC 30 when you were on my show.
Yeah, 9 years ago, brother.
Yeah,
that popped up, and I'm like, wow. And I was looking at my picture. I'm like, wow, I had some hair then. It wasn't all gray. It was a little darker. So I'm aging quickly.
Yeah, well, no, man, you look great. It's just we're just aging. We're just look different. Let's put it that way.
More distinguished.
Right, exactly. But anyway, I meant to go back, and then I couldn't find. I got to find it. It was a Facebook memory, so I'll go back and put a little heart on there and shout you out. But thanks for noticing that, and those were good times. Been a long time, brother. I've known you a long time, so thank you.
Long time, and I love you, and I appreciate you more than you know.
Oh, I love you too, Rick. And thanks so much, and have a good rest of your day, man.
You too, brother.
All
Take
right,
care.
brother. That is Rick Pogue. Yeah, this Mom Donnie St. Patrick's Day video. I mean, are all Gen Xers like this boring? Seriously. Like, do you have to overthink everything? Anyway, I'll have that for you. Plus that rundown of all the ways that Time Magazine is spending the money that otherwise is going to the war effort. They've got other ideas for it, so we'll follow up on that. You guys, hello. Thank you for joining the show. It's Common Sense Radio.
think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Well, I was having a conversation with actually a St. Louisan I was talking to down in Cabo. There aren't many of them, but I did find somebody. And so we were talking about spring. Of course, we were complaining about St. Louis weather, right, as we sat in this beautiful sunshine and everything else. And she was like, I can't stand St. Louis springs. I go, I can't either, because they're just so unpredictable, and half the time it's cold. I mean, I know we're going to have a nice week this week, but you know, it's going to be flurrying on Easter probably. It's that kind of thing. Raining all the time in May. Just drives me crazy. And then we have some of these storms in May, and that's where I am reminded of last May. And again, I'm blessed. I'm not a big complainer, so I'm just saying, you know, it must be nice to just be able to complain about the weather, right? Anyway, it's a serious thing though when your trees that have been stressed from last summer and the heat, and stressed from a really hard winter this winter, a really hard January. Our Januaries are getting really wicked. And so what's happening is your branches are weakened. I've noticed after maybe a little mildly windy day, I'm seeing some branches on my front lawn. That is a good example of why you need deadwooding and pruning by my friends at Hanson's Tree Service. It's a great example of why you need the expertise of Chad Hanson and his team in coming out and taking care of business. Some of these big branches that wind up on your front lawn, you try to pick them up to move them, and you're like, wow, if this fell on me or my kid or my car, this would be pretty damaging. That's why you need to make this happen, because you don't want to be surprised when we get those blustery days or, heaven forbid, those really wild, wicked storms like we had in May. Hanson's Tree Service is also doing financing, so it's really super easy for you to get this stuff done right away, lickety-splickety, even if you need to take a tree down. Also, for those of you who are thinking about beautifying your yard or growing your shrubs and your plants and all that kind of stuff, first, let's talk about the Magic Bean, which is a composting mixture, which is really great, very effective, and it works like mad. I'm telling you, it is amazing in the growth of your bushes and your sunflowers and all that kind of stuff. The Magic Bean, you can ask for it by name. You can order all this stuff online, including the mulch. They'll come and deliver it right basically to your driveway for you. All kinds of different colors, all kinds of different styles of mulch. Again, as I've told you, one of my favorite colors is the red mulch, which I really love, and so I'm getting that this spring as well. Comes right to you, and you spread it to your delight. Right there at Hanson's Tree Service, hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson. Mario's Donut Restaurant, that's your place to go for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. From mouth-watering sandwiches, omelets, delicious gyros, and Mexican dishes, to their revamped menu with cannolis, tiramisu, baklava, and danishes. And don't forget those famous donuts. Dine in or carry out, Mario's friendly staff is ready to serve you with love and care. Mention News Talk STL when you visit, or just visit mariosdonutrestaurant.com.
The Hammond Institute at Lindenwood University and News Talk STL invite you to an exclusive discussion on Missouri's tax future. Manish Bhatt, Vice President of State Tax Policy for the Tax Foundation, will explore our state's tax competitiveness and the latest efforts to eliminate individual income tax and property tax. Wednesday, March 25th at Lindenwood University, part of the H.F. Langenberg Speaker Series. The event is free, but you must RSVP at hammondinstitute.org. That's hammondinstitute.org.
Hey, Columbo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Conservative talk for St. Louis.
It's your patriotic right and duty. The government needs to step up and do its job.
This is News Talk STL.
It's well-balanced conversation.
News, analysis, opinion.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL. The 3 martini lunch, everybody. That's what it is. So, Ashton was asking me that intriguing follow-up question because I had hinted at it earlier about 16-year-old Lily and I being in Cabo and the boy factor. So there were three exposures to water at the Dreams Resort that we had. A really nice place. I mean, I love this place. So we had the pool where they had all the activities. It was like the kids' pool, right? So they had the music and the ping pong and volleyball and kind of really very active, that part. Then they had the adult pool, which was great, but allowed teenagers and things like that. But it was designed to keep, the kids out. It wasn't, So they had that, and that was nice too. I'd usually spend my mornings down there. Lily was upstairs, whatever. I'd be having my coffee there and doing whatever. And then they had the beach. And then the beach chairs. And so in the morning, I'd get up like at 6 o'clock in the morning, practically 6:15, go out and, of course, everybody had to save their spots, It was really weird. It was kind of like Thunderdome for the most part, But anyway, it was still fun. It was still good. If you know the drill, it's easy. And if you get up early, it's easy too because half these people aren't waking up. So you take advantage of that. Anyway, so we would have the first time we were there, Saturday, we were there, and, our chairs were right next to the ping pong table. It was loud and everything else, and that was okay. But Lily's 16, so she kind of likes that activity, And then at one point, there are these women. There's like a little place where you could stand like in the water, and there's these women with microphones. This was like straight out of the 60s. Again, I'm going to put a video together for you. You could check it out and see. It was really great. Anyway, so occasionally, we would just sit at the adult pool and then go over together to the other pool. And so one time we were at the kids pool thing, went back to the adult pool, and about like 15 minutes after we got to the adult pool, Lily was like, "I think I'm going to go back to the kids pool." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll just meet you back there. That's fine." We had a couple times we just were separate, whatever. So okay, that's fine. You go back there. And then I went back over there after a little while just to check in, say hi, see what's going on. And there were 3 boys next to her. Like it was my seat, then her seat, then 3 guys, And I sat there for a little while, and they sat there, and she sat there, and we talked. Lily and I just spent some time together. And I said, "Well, I'm going to go, go back to the other place. I think I was going to go to the beach and then back to the other place." So I went over there. Then I came. Next thing I know, I come back, and Lily's chair is empty, and the boys' chairs are empty, and there's Lily with Max from Colorado in the infinity pool. They were like they were just talking, and then she looked back at me and just kind of waved, and I was like, I had a choice. I could go out there and introduce myself to Max, or I could just, let her chill, whatever. I think it was kind of the first time that's ever happened. So it was kind of cute. And then I left, and then she came over and met me. And the good thing is I met Max's family. Like I started to see them at night, and I knew his parents and all that stuff. So it was fine, but it was really fun to see and sweet, and I do trust her very much. So I wasn't, believe me, she's got her head on straight. So I was okay. And it was kind of cute. It was a little passage of time. Here's a girl who still travels with her teddy bear. So, it's kind of 16 is such a crazy age, right, Ashlyn, for girls too? I always thought 14 was a tough time, but 16 is kind of.
16's rough.
Yeah, yeah. And these guys are. I mean, I don't know. I was sensing something going on, so I was kind of like trying to kind of be away and let her have her little freedom. And I think it was also encouraging to her. And it's a different vibe when you're down there as opposed to when you're up here. And, everybody judges people on what school they go to and all this nonsense. And down there it's a little different. So I was really happy that she had her little time down there and her fun. All right. So I need to get to this because this is, and then I wasn't really looking, but, I do tend to chat a lot, and Lily makes fun of me about that because I everywhere I go, I kind of make friends with people and have like friends, like and know everybody by name and stuff like that. And so, you know how when you are at airports, do you ever do this? Like, do you ever like look out when you're waiting to board the flight, like, and you see people like, I hope I don't sit next to them. You know what I mean? Like somehow, for some reason, coming back from Chicago, telling Lily, it's like, is everybody sick on this friggin' plane? Like, coughing and everything else. I'm like, I'm going to get AIDS coming back here. So anyway, I going to, from Phoenix to Cabo, there were a bunch of guys, and they seemed like they were kind of loud, whatever else. And I was like, oh, I might be sitting next to them. And lo and behold, we get into the plane, and that's right. Two of them, Francisco and Sergio, who are cousins, are sitting there. Francisco is on the aisle seat. Sergio's on the other aisle seat, and they're laughing and they're loud. And I go in, and Lily sits there. And then I'm in the middle seat because they let Lily sit at the window all the time. And lo and behold, though, by the end of the flight, end of the flight, I'm doing tequilas with these guys. I really did just one, I think, or maybe two, I don't know. But Francisco and Sergio, they live in Fresno, California, and Francisco and Sergio, if you are listening, hi guys, we had a fun time. It was a great time, and it was like really. Francisco's like a plant sciences guy, and they told me all about Mexico because their parents are from Mexico. They're first generation Americans, really cool people telling me, she was showing me pictures about where he got married in Tequila, Mexico. And it turned out really great, And I didn't know what to do because when I first got there, I was going to put my headphones in and watch the rest of John Wick, which I usually do. And I said, well, I don't know. I have a choice. Will I watch more people in suits get killed by gunfire, or will I talk to Francisco and Sergio? And I opted to talk to Francisco and Sergio instead. So we had a good time. And then they were going down to I got Francisco's number, and they were going down to a bachelor party, and we were exchanging pictures and all that kind of stuff. And it was a ton of fun. But also then at the pool, I met Brittany, who is a eyebrow tattoo artist in Albany, New York, and she was traveling with her mom, and she's a sweetheart. And it's just you just kind of get into these, see people, get into your friendships, and it's a ton of fun. But Lily's always making fun of me. Oh, one of the things she was making fun of me is I was talking to Sergio and Francisco they were talking about Mexican culture. And I was like, have you guys seen the movie Coco? Because I love Coco. Coco's probably one of my favorite movies ever. Right, Ashlyn? It's pretty good, right? So it's all about Mexican culture and how they see death and their relatives and all that stuff. It's really very cool. And Sergio was like, oh, yeah, I saw it. I cried. And he put his little thing there. And Lily later on, she was like, she was recounting everything we were talking about. And all of it was clean, up and everything else. But she thought that was very funny. So some of those conversations are really a lot of fun. Traveling is fun. If you just kind of chill, a lot of people get all uptight when they're traveling, doing all kinds of stuff. It's like if you just kind of settle down a little bit, it's all good. And as I said before, I was really super impressed with American Airlines. They're really American Airlines is really something. I was impressed. We were early half the time, except for last night when we were late, from Chicago. But then once you get deeper into the thing, it's there. All right, so Zoran Mamdani decides that this is how he's going to commemorate St. Patrick's Day. Now, keep in mind, most people know, and I've done this before, but if you're going to put a video out on social media, probably about a minute and a half tops is how long the video, preferably a minute, because other than that, people you lose them. I've done longer videos before when I did advertiser stuff, but if just you and you're doing something, a minute and a half is about as much. What does Mom Donnie do? He does a 3-minute, he must, what he did, right? He asked Claude, didn't he? Hey, Claude, can you write me a speech about comparing St. Patrick's Day to the plight of a bunch of Gazans and other people who aren't Irish so that I could co-opt and hijack their holiday? I can't just say something nice about Irish people and Irish culture. I have to turn it into something about me and the Gazan victims and everything else. It's like, dude, you've got to be kidding me. You really didn't do this. He's, yeah, he did.
Today, as New Yorkers celebrate St. Patrick's Day, I think of the words of St. Patrick himself, the Apostle of Ireland. In the 5th century, in what we now know as Ireland, a British warlord named Caradocus had laid waste to the countryside.
Is that even Irish music behind him, or is that like some kind of Islamic zither or something? Like, what is that? Is that Irish music? Maybe it is. We'll see.
Today, as New Yorkers celebrate St. Patrick's Day, I think of the words of St. Patrick himself, the Apostle of Ireland. In the 5th century, in what we now know as Ireland, a British warlord named Caradocus had laid waste to the countryside. St. Patrick implored the soldiers responsible to stop. Overcome by grief, he wrote, "All I can do is what is written. Weep with those who weep." It is no small act to weep with those who weep.
You insufferable, egotistical, self-absorbed clown. First of all, I can't hear you because I'm trying to figure out what the music is. So I'm really not listening, and the music's a little too loud, and you're just droning on and on something that you chat GPT'd.
It is a choice, one that many do not make. It requires sacrifice, a subjugation of the self, solidarity. Irish solidarity is no coincidence, as it was on Irish soil that the British Empire developed their colonial project. So,
you're reading a Wikipedia page or something to us? My goodness. I don't even know what you're talking about. And then, of course, this is one thing I notice about and he's going to try to make a comparison between Irish immigrants and what they went to rich trust fund babies like Zoran Mamdani and what he's going through, and all these other clowns who are carrying free Palestine flags and joining Antifa and tearing down Israeli hostage flyers from the telephone poles. I'm telling you, there's a real distinct difference. And that's why it's one thing about the Hispanic culture that has come here. I think there's one thing that's absolutely right. Most Hispanics who have come here to this country are very hardworking people. And the legal ones and even the ones on work visas are very hardworking people. In many cases are family-oriented individuals and also very faithful people religiously, everything else. And there are the other ones as well. But I noticed that the people from the lands of Mamdani tend to feel like they came over here and that we've got to somehow kiss their slippers all the time. Like we're somehow privileged to have them here. I don't know what it is, but you see the difference, right? I mean, they're very unlike Bosnians who come here and who work their tail off and commit to the country and everything else. I was talking to Nick Shore outside. He was talking about the cartels, and he was like, yeah, I just grow a big beard and speak Bosnian, whatever. I go, yeah, I tell you one thing, Bosnians are scared of no one. You notice that there aren't too many Bosnian crime victims. Just see if you could take a There aren't too many of those. Anyway, this is Mamdani. It's like we got to listen to him try to intellectualize St. Patrick's Day into some kind of thing about him and his culture.
So much of the exploitation later imposed elsewhere across the world was honed first in the plantations in Ireland. Who can better understand those who weep than those who have wept for so long? And yet the story of Ireland is not merely one of violent oppression, of subjugation, of attempted domination. It is one of resistance too. For centuries, generation after generation, waged a
what resistance would that be, Mamdani? Yeah, they resisted just like we're resisting. Yeah. You mean like the Muslim resistance and the Antifa resistance and the socialist resistance?
The effort for independence. Year after year, uprising after uprising, they were brutally beaten back. And still, they kept coming. I think of leaders like James Connolly and Patrick Pearse, who roused hundreds of thousands with demands of political freedom and economic self-determination.
You could tell he's just kind of filling the air with words because he really wants to get to how the real victims are people like Mamdani, you know.
I think of those who endured unimaginable hardship during the Troubles, the 10 prisoners who died after going on hunger strike to protest the British government's refusal to deem them political prisoners. I think of the many whose names have been lost to time, who perished from a famine exacerbated by imperial callousness. And I think of the discrimination Irish New Yorkers faced when they first came to these shores.
Just like us, right? Right?
They were barred from employment and housing. Signs plastered across storefronts.
Yeah, really. Unlike you guys aren't barred from employment and housing. We're giving you money to go to school. We're also housing you, which is why prices for rent have skyrocketed because of the competition for housing in New York, because every anybody who just pops in gets treated to free rent and free housing.
Read, help wanted. No Irish need apply. They did not grow discouraged, however.
Well, okay, let me rewrite this for you, Mamdani. Hey, you know what? Thinking about what the Irish went through when they came here to New York City, I'm ashamed to be complaining about everything. I should be ashamed of myself for being a mutt who comes to the United States of America or lives in the United States of America and just takes and takes and takes. I should be ashamed of myself for not encouraging people to get real jobs like the Irish immigrants did in New York, and instead simply ride free buses and get free government money. St. Patrick's Day is a day in which we, people like me, mutts like me, should reflect on how we are so self-absorbed and we're a bunch of siphons and don't respect the country that we're in. So on this day, on St. Patrick's Day, I want to tell you all, I am sorry for being me. How does that sound? He should have asked me. I should have pretended to be like ChatGPT or something like that. I'm Zoran Mamdani. We should all hang our heads in shame on this day, thinking about what St. Patrick's Day is and what the Irish immigrants went through in New York, because it's nothing like we went through, which was we didn't go through anything. We just went through their pockets of the American government when we got here. That's what we went through. We went through the stash of cash. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, happy to be with you.
Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
It's about time somebody stood up for true American values.
What this country needs is some backbone.
Finally, a president who wants to make real change.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Oh, yes, indeed. Proud to be a member of the Walner home selling team. Not just a member, but an active player along with the rest of the team. Just last 3 weeks, got 3 lovely families into 3 new homes. I mostly do buyer's agency, and what I do is I fight for you. I fight for you on the inspection level. I fight for you on negotiating the price and everything else, and that's how we roll, and I get it done. And that's cool because I learned from the best. I learned from people like Rodney and Jen Wallner and the rest of my team members. Rodney and Jen are amazing individuals. They have built the Wallner home selling team into the #1 home selling team in the Berkshire Hathaway network, and that is very, very cool, and I'm proud and privileged to be working alongside of them. And Rodney, if you're getting your home sold, I've got other agents too on the team who will go ahead and create a competitive thing for your home in selling it, and you'll get the best price, also the lowest, most reasonable commission, everything else, and you'll love the way they move your home lickety-splickety and create a war over it, and that benefits you. 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD. It's the Wallner home selling team of Berkshire Hathaway.
Hi, it's Ken Williams, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the Capistrami. You've got hot pastrami, melty Swiss cheese, crunchy coleslaw, and zesty Russian dressing. What else do you need? I love Capriati's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they're very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They're in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
The story behind the story. Part 2 of the Houston mass murders. 30 children killed.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
So this phony punk named Joe Kent, who resigned from the Trump administration and the security team, basically blaming everything we're doing in Iran on Israeli lobbying. Joe Kent resigning, does this big little fainting couch speech and everything else. And wow, guess where Joe Kent is going? He's going on the Tucker Carlson show. Who would have guessed, right? And this guy is such a phony. President Trump's team wisely put out a couple of tweets that basically just simply took Joe Kent's tweets from the last couple years in which he declared Iran to be a threat, even encouraging President Trump to take it out and take out the ballistic missiles. So it just proves this guy is a lying Judas who was only after, well, notoriety, I guess. So what a surprise. He'll be on Tucker Carlson anytime now. So, hey, you guys have a great rest of your day. Ashlyn, thank you so much. Coming up, Tony Colombo and Company. It's Common Sense Radio.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The nation's top intelligence official says Iran's government appears to still be intact after